Go ahead. I know, right? We're going to do part two. Welcome back to the show, everyone. My name is Mark, and right here I've got Danny, and we've got Paul with us. Hello again. I'm done licking my wounds after that last. God, I feel like you just punched me in the throat. You're like, sure, where's this in the book? And I'm like,
by the way, do we say Paul C and Danny F?
Yeah, Paul C, Danny F, whatever we want to do.
Okay.
Like, so we are talking about Danny F's book, The 20 Most Misunderstood, Misinterpreted Mistakes of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. By the way, where can people go to get a copy of this?
You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Any of that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, this is the book that Paul gave me.
Well, Paul, he buys one for everybody.
Well,
write to Paul, he'll send you one. Even though now that I've read the big book, I've been through this a few times, and I'm starting to realize I got a lot more.
But that's okay. That's what we're talking about.
But you're still an infant in recovery.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're 18. Exactly. You're 18 months sober.
Listen, we all know exactly what it's like to be 18 months clean and sober. Because we've both been 18 months clean and sober.
Do you remember at 18 months how you...
I don't remember too much.
I do, actually. Because I do. I'll tell you what happened very quickly. So I had come off 3-4 nights over Christmas and New Year, been on a binge with alcohol and drugs. And Suzanne, bless her, my wife from 25 years, come this tomorrow, said, if you don't phone Danny, she said, I'm done. I'm out of here. So I phoned Danny 4 days in.
But that's because they sat through my relationship workshop at a convention a few months prior to that.
Wait, so he wasn't your sponsor then?
I didn't have a sponsor.
He wasn't sober.
Oh.
I wasn't sober.
Oh, this is in your run.
Well, he was at a convention, and I did a relationship workshop at that convention.
Okay.
That him and Suzanne sat through.
All right.
And then, go ahead, Paul.
Well, I had periods of being sober and relapsing for 20-odd years. Anyway, I first came into the rooms in 1982. Don't know when you were born, but it might not have been 1982.
I was 78.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. You were 4 years of age. But I spent 20 years relapsing because I never got a sponsor. I never listened to the similarities. I only listened to the differences. But the one thing I did do was I kept coming back. You know, there's a big truth in that slogan, keep coming back, because I did keep going back because I didn't know where else to turn. Yeah. And then I met Danny a couple of times when he'd been over. I'd been going through some sober periods when I would be at a convention with Suzanne.
Yeah.
And then, so she knew Danny and whatever. But I was still using at this particular New Year's Eve, which went on for 2 or 3 days. And I phoned him up, completely, off my breasts, as they would say in England, off my tits. And he said to me, he answered the phone, and he said to me, I said, Danny, will you be my sponsor? And he went, are you prepared to go to any lengths? And I went, yeah, sure. Like, whatever that meant. And he said, well, get on a fucking plane and come to Oklahoma City. And I went, what? Because I thought he lived in New York. And my shtick was, Suzanne wants me out of here to go and see Danny. I'll go to New York because I know guys I can score from. I know the clubs. And Oklahoma City, that's like, Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote a musical, and that's about all I know. Anyway, I got on a plane and I went 27 hours via Chicago in the middle of winter to Oklahoma City.
Didn't we go to an H&I meeting when you got there? Off the plane, was that?
No, we did go to H&I meetings, but we went. So I drank all the way there. And I didn't even smoke, but I was the guy in the cabin in the toilet smoking cigarettes. But I get there after 27 hours and he's standing there in his yellow velour tracksuit, and you took me to...
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Straight out The Sopranos, and as he told me last night, they hadn't even made The Sopranos yet. But anyway, and God bless him, he took me to an eating meet at the Rock Stops here.
Eating meeting,
and then he locked me in a room for a couple of days until I sobered up, and then he took me through the steps. But my point is that when Danny, I learned so much from Danny in the first few weeks.
Yeah.
And I went to meetings every day, but I spouted a lot of the stuff that I'd heard from Danny. Then you'd be at the meeting and I'd hear something from you that I liked. I'd take a little bit. And 30 days in, or at least 6 weeks in, I sounded as if I'd been in the program for 6 years. But it's just the way I got there. And even when somebody came out and asked me to sponsor them and I phoned Danny, I said, Danny, can you help me? Can you help me? This guy wants me to sponsor him. He says, well, talk to him about step one and powerlessness and unmanageability. And then he says, just work with him what we did on step one. He says, and then when you come to step two, phone me. We'll go through it again. And that's how I got through.
Yeah.
And I haven't wavered.
Yeah.
I haven't wavered. And I've lived in different countries since then. I've had some very big bumps. In 2008, 4 years in, they had a very big world recession. Yeah. And I lost everything. Suzanne and I lost everything. But I was going to meetings in Mallorca, in Spain.
Yeah.
And I remember one night going to a meeting, walking to this church place that I used to go to on a Thursday. I'm thinking, it's okay. They're going to take the house in Spain away. It's okay because, it's going to work out. And it did work out. And we just worked very hard and we got back on our feet again. But I could never have done that. So it's not like you don't get issues. It's not like divorces don't happen. And it's not like businesses don't collapse. And it's not like you don't have, family tragedies.
Life goes on.
It goes on.
Yeah.
But you handle it so completely differently.
Yeah.
And with with always thinking about that serenity and peace of mind. And that's the and gratitude.
Yes.
I'm going to say one more thing before I go.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And that is the three most important things in life, I believe, are 1, kindness.
Yeah.
2, kindness. And 3, kindness. And that's what this program has brought me. It's brought me an understanding of being kind. It's brought me an understanding of gratitude brings happiness. It doesn't matter how bad things are that day. I would get so angry in a restaurant if somebody did something wrong, but then I'm great if I got the wrong table, if I wasn't sitting in the right direction. I'm not like that today because I'm just so grateful to be sitting here with you guys.
Yeah.
That's what this program's brought me. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Paul. That's okay. So
And still with him after 20 years.
yeah, there you go.
He's that sick.
So in this book, Dave, chapter 10, how it works, this second sentence tells us who will recover and who will not recover, all and why, all in one sentence. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. And the word completely, you go on to say, it is also noteworthy to look at the word completely in this sentence. To completely give themselves means this is not a matter of choice like a good idea.
Yeah. And I don't know if I talked a little about that last night, I think, but I don't remember.
I don't.
I
You were talking about some cutting over and bleeding on somebody that didn't even cut you. Like
what that is there, completely give yourself is, I think I was talking a little bit about last night, is the going after the program of recovery the way I went after that shit out there.
yeah,
I completely gave myself to that process of getting high and drinking. I completely gave myself to that. And I did talk a little bit about that last night.
oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
But so if I come in here and I go, okay, you're going to do this, I'll try, that kind of shit ain't going to make it because I was so enthused about the other way I was living. So why not have that same enthusiasm for recovery?
Yeah.
And that's, so completely give myself to this process.
Yeah, there was people that told me they're like, chase this like you chase that.
Exactly.
And to chase working these, practicing these principles on, I feel like the twisted principles you used to practice out there, like all the lying, all the denying.
Yeah, I get people that I sponsor today, and they're like, most of the people I sponsor today have years of sobriety, and they're looking for more of that emotional sobriety.
Yeah.
But I do try to keep a newcomer around, because they just amused the shit out of me. But I'll get a guy and he'll talk about. I'll give him a homework assignment, right? And then he'll come back. I said, "Did you do your homework assignment?" "Well, I did some of it." "Oh, okay, yeah. So when you went to the bar, did you ask for 7-Up and ice? Because that's some of vodka and 7. And what did you drink? Vodka and 7. Did you just put the ice in the 7-Up? No. Why would I do that? Well, because that's only some of it. Oh, you didn't do some of it. You did. You completely got your drink, right?
Yeah.
You completely doing this deal is not coming back and telling me you did some of it.
Yeah.
Completely give yourself to this program. That's what it's asking us to do.
Yeah.
It's coming back and telling me I did exactly what you said. What should I do next?
Yeah.
That's what it completely is.
Well, I found myself when I worked with my sponsor, I found myself calling him every day, when are we going to get together and do some work? When are we going to get together and do some work? Because it was informed to me and relayed to me that, hey, the work's not going to do itself.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not up to somebody else to work my recovery for me. And is Paul out? Paul's out.
Paul's going to the beach.
See you later.
Paul's going to the beach.
Paul's going to the beach.
I'll do the Scottish accent every little bit. So
He's staying.
I'd be interested to hear your Scottish accent. So,
like James Bond,
so
Bond, James Bond.
and so, there is one thing that I really like in here, and it's on page 56 of your deal here, and it says, "Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection." The mistake here is to use this phrase as a cop-out or a scapegoat.
Yeah.
I justify my behavior. It's progress, not perfection. Blame my actions on the fact that I'm alcoholic. And after all, we are not saints. Stop blaming your negative behaviors on alcoholism.
Yeah.
That's not alcoholism. That's you. Don't lie, cheat, and steal all the other bad actions because you're alcoholic. You do these things because you're you. That's what the steps are for, to change you. Remember, it's not old behavior if you're still doing it.
Yeah, that's a mouthful there, but you hear this so often in the rooms, and it's gotten to the point, like in my home group, they were talking about being of service. My home group, my Sunday morning home group that I go to.
Yeah.
I'm there an hour before the meeting every Sunday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, making the coffee for the meeting.
Okay.
I'm the coffee guy.
Okay.
And I get there at 9. At 9:15, 2 guys show up. Between the two of them, they have 101 years of sobriety.
Okay.
Yeah, and between the two of them. And then at 9:25, another guy comes, and by 9:30, there's about 6 of us on there, and we have a few hundred years of sobriety.
Wow.
And then by 10 o'clock, the room is full. 100 people. But I make the coffee so it's gotten to the point where if somebody comes in there and they share about, I did this and I did that, and then they go, what can I say? I'm alcoholic. It's gotten to the point where everybody in the room will look at me. Because, and I'm talking about 100 people in the room, right? Because I'm kind of known for getting on that kind of shit,
Yeah.
Listen, you're not a slut or this or that because you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with
Well, I've
alcohol.
heard people blame their behavior
Yes.
on the fact that it's my alcoholism. I'm an alcoholic and rest on those laurels. I've heard that, and
Yeah,
when I
that's
read
what
this,
this is about.
it pointed
That's
that
my
out.
point there. Stop doing that shit. Stop blaming your behaviors on alcoholism.
Yeah.
It's you son of a bitch. It ain't alcohol.
Yeah.
And so when somebody does share that occasionally in the room, everybody, look at Danny, because they know I'm going to say something.
Well, one of the times after I read that, I actually heard that in the room. Somebody's like, "Oh, I flipped off a bunch of people going on the road." He's like, "I really hate this disease. It really makes me
Yeah.
do that." And I'm like, I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I must not be an alcoholic. I didn't flip anybody off.
Oh yeah, really?
Ever.
Wow.
I don't need to be here no more.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are just,
Yeah, they're so,
Yeah.
Wait, awkward pause there.
But if you're doing this deal and you're practicing these principles and you're working these steps and you have a sponsor that understands the book,
Yeah.
you're going to address all your issues. So the people that talk that stuff, they're not doing the work.
Yeah.
If you were doing the work, you wouldn't be blaming your bad behaviors on alcoholism.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that I know. Like in the beginning of my program, I played a victim really well.
Yeah, alcoholism is two things.
Yeah.
It's two things. It makes me do it when I don't want to do it, and when I do it, it makes me do more.
Yeah.
That's it. That's alcoholism.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it.
The rest of it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Explains so much.
Yeah.
Well, that actually reading that in your book actually helped me work on myself more. I'm like, you know what? I have no excuse to blame my shitty behavior on the fact that I am an alcoholic. And when I read that, that's when I noticed things in my life started to get better. As far as like, okay, I must have missed something in this. And I really like that. And I started looking at where all I was doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need to work on this and work on that. Now, when you talked about the 9th step promises in here and using them as basically a yardstick for your emotional sobriety and being able to pinpoint in here. And I thought maybe we could talk about that and then possibly wrap it up.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good. So I was studying the book.
Yeah.
For a long time, all the literature. And when I came across this, nobody ever said to me, check this out, this is that. And this is kind of one of the ones that I came across myself. And I realized that in each one of those 9-step promises, there's 12 of them. And that they all correspond with a step.
Yeah.
And so the guide then is really simple. Ask myself each one, am I getting this in my life today? Not yesterday, not last week. Right here, right now, is this alive and well in my life today? Mm-hmm. And if I can answer no to one of them, what step is that?
Yeah.
Like fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. Oh, no, I still got, what step is the 9th step? What does the 9th step say? Made amends.
Yeah.
I probably owe somebody some money.
Yeah, it says right now, I'm right here at that page right now. It says right now, do I have fear of people and economic insecurity? Looking over step 9, I could see that I must have some amends I haven't made yet, and it's causing fear with people and finances.
Right. So each one of those 12 things in the 9th step promises belong to a step.
Yeah.
And if I'm not getting that promise at that moment, what is that step telling me to do? Most of the times it's going to be the third one, because God's not running the show. Danny is. I'm not even sure what the third.
It
one
all
is.
goes back to the 3rd step. Then.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that's a good guide.
Okay.
To look at myself at any point, any time, and say, this is where I'm at, and this is what I need to work on.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong proponent of that. The steps are not to be used in a singular form. The steps are to be used for 12 of them at a time.
Okay.
So you don't take a step and apply it to something. So what I'm saying to you now may sound contradictory to that, because I'm really a strong proponent of having an issue and working all 12 steps on that issue.
Really?
Or working all 12 steps, I should say, not on that issue.
So I just don't take an inventory is what you're saying.
Right. So, well, what I'm talking about is these 9-step promises. Each one belongs to a step. Which one am I not getting? That's where my problem is. But I'm not insinuating that you should apply that step to the problem and you're finished. I'm just talking about the awareness of where the problem is. And then the solution for that is to work all 12. See, we don't work the steps on whatever you're going to work the steps on. You only work the first step on the problem. The other 11 steps are exactly the same as you did with alcohol.
Okay.
So the idea that I'm going to work the steps on shopping, right? I have a shopping problem.
Yeah.
Well, the first step is the problem.
You have to admit that you're powerless.
Powerless, your life is unmanageable, and but the problem is the first step only. So I'm not going to work the 12 steps on shopping. I'm only going to work I'm going to find out what the problem is in shopping. What is the problem? My problem is my shopping that my life's unmanageable and I'm powerless over it. And that's the problem, okay? And the rest of the 11 steps are the same no matter what you're working the steps on.
Okay.
So, and I really go really deep into that in the videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is it's right from our book.
Yeah.
If you look at the 12 steps, only one of them talk about alcohol,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
The only one, that the problem is alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Just one. The rest of them are not about that.
Yeah.
They're about what I broke it down into last night is what is the problem, what is the solution, what is the program of action.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you're working the steps on. It's only the first step that the problem is about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, now that I was saying we're going to close it out, I got a couple more quick questions for you. Is that okay?
I'm not going away.
Good. Good. Chapter 20, AA etiquette. I like this.
AA etiquette.
AA etiquette. There's some in here. Never bring your phone into a meeting.
Yeah.
During a meeting, never go outside or leave the meeting once the meeting has started to talk to another person, no matter how frantic or upset that they are. You want to hit those two?
Yeah. As many times I've been in a meeting and the meeting is about to start or something, and somebody will come up to me and whisper in my ear, "I got to talk to you. Can we go outside?" And I look at the clock. There's only a minute left. I go, "No, sit down. Take a seat." And they go, "But I got sit down. When the meeting's over, we'll go outside and talk." But I sit down, and I don't get up and leave with them, because the message that I'm giving them, and this is about the traditions. I actually cover this in the traditions. The message that I'm giving them is that they're more important than the group.
Oh.
They're more important than the meeting. And I want to teach them that nobody is more important than the meeting, that the group together, our unity, is more important than any one individual. That's the first tradition.
Yeah.
So now your common recovery is close behind it, but it's second. So whatever insane thing is going on in your life, whatever huge problem is going on in your life, 60 minutes from now, we'll talk about it. All right, now you're going to pay attention to everybody else talking. And I don't want you to share. I want you to shut up and listen.
Wow.
Sit next to me, be quiet, and listen to what everybody shares. Now, a lot of times after that happens, because this has happened many times, a lot of times after that happened, before on our way out, going outside to talk, I say, "You still got that same issue?" A lot of times they'll say, "Yeah, you know what? It's not that bad." And I'll say, I'm fine to talk about it if you want to talk about it. You know, a lot of it's kind of split. Half the times they'll want to still talk about it. Half the time, you know what? Fuck it. It's no big deal.
Nah, it's not that big now. I heard
Yeah.
somebody share about this.
Yeah.
It's like my first
No,
world problem is
Yeah. After what that guy shared, my problem ain't no big thing. You know.
Yeah. It's, so okay. Here's a good one I see in here on the etiquette. Be on time. I always hear people. Come into the meeting, apologize for being late, sharing, and then share what they were late about. And in a way, myself, and maybe this is my own, I'm like, I'm just happy you're here. I really don't give a shit.
You know what? First of all, I'm never late for a meeting.
Yeah.
I'm never late for anything. But if I happen to walk into a meeting after it started, I will never share, even if they call on me.
Yeah.
And if I have to leave the meeting early, I won't share.
Okay.
But and if somebody is sharing the meeting that I sponsor, and they called on somebody that came in late, I'll pull them up after the meeting and tell them, don't do that no more.
Really?
Yeah. It's disrespectful to everybody who was on time.
Ah, all right.
If we're on time and you come in 10 minutes late and the chairperson calls on you, what are you, special? What if there's a newcomer in there? Oh, he must be special. Just came in there calling on him.
Yeah.
You know, what do you... And if it were me and they called on me, I'd say, I'm sorry, I get here late, I shouldn't share.
Really?
I didn't get here on time, I shouldn't share. But that never happens because I'm never late. But I come from a different world than most people.
Okay.
I mean, I come from... My background was on the streets.
Okay.
And if my boss told me that we're going to meet at 1 o'clock and I come at 10 after 1, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
If I didn't shave, I'm in trouble.
Okay.
You know, we had a lot of rules that we lived by. John Gotti was a friend of mine, but he killed a guy because he didn't show up on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we didn't have that. If we're supposed to meet at 1, if I'm not there at 10 to 1, I think I'm late.
Yeah.
So I that's one of the things that helped me in recovery. You know? Not much more from that whole life, but the idea though is that if somebody comes in late to a meeting, they should never be called on by the chairperson.
Okay. Well, what if they're like, my name's such and such, and
well, see, our home group is we're very particular about who we let chair meetings.
Yeah.
If it's somebody new that wants to chair a meeting, we go, okay. Do you have what in you to cut somebody off? Do you have in you to keep the meeting directed in a positive way? That if somebody, like you said, came in late and want to talk, say, I'm sorry. We'll give everybody a chance to share that was here on time. At the end of the meeting, we'll have 5 minutes for burning desires. You can talk then. Thank you.
Okay.
That's how we handle our meetings.
Wow.
We don't fuck around.
Wow.
Recovery is serious.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, of course, you know, you got to have listen, I tell people, if you're not laughing and enjoying life, you're not taking this program serious enough.
Yeah, well, that goes back to page 132 in the big book. We are not a glum lot.
We're not a glum lot.
If a newcomer would see no... Yeah, in fact, hold on. Before I misquote that, I'm going to pull it up really quick.
Well, you know, actually, it's actually smack dab in the middle of the page. It's 16 lines from the top, 16 lines from the bottom.
Yeah. We have been speaking
4
to you.
words over from the left, 4 words over from the right, it says.
But we aren't a glum lot. Yeah, if newcomers could see no joy or fun in our existence, they wouldn't want it.
Yeah, we absolutely insist on enjoying life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know when I first came into the program, if I would have seen just a bunch of like, I'll put the plug in the jug and I'm just, I'm sober, I would have been like, what the? I mean, I was kind of like what the F anyway.
Yeah.
But that would have really put a damper on it. Like I wouldn't want to, because I had enough time struggling with the fact that how am I going to do this for the rest of my life? I mean, of course that's changed since then.
Now, my home group, you know, we're very structured, and a lot of people don't like structured meetings. I don't attend open meetings. I just don't go to them.
Really?
I don't give
open discussion.
I don't give a fuck. Your washing machine don't work. I don't want to hear that bullshit in a meeting.
Well, wait a second. That goes back to this next one that you talk about in etiquette. Save the mess for your sponsor and the message for the meeting.
Yeah. I don't dump in a meeting, and I make sure the people I sponsor don't dump in a meeting. It's not a meeting's not. People say it's a safe place for you to come in. No, it's not. It's not. It's not there. The meeting should be a place where you're passing a positive message on.
Okay.
Not to dump your shit. If I'm your sponsor, you dump your shit with me.
Okay.
Not in a room full of people.
Okay.
You know, in a room full of people, pass on a positive message. You know what? I had this going on, the shit you were going to dump. I had this going on. It was horrible. I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But I'm here and I'm sober. That's what I said to that guy last night.
Yeah.
I said, this program works, doesn't it? Because you're here. That guy that was sitting behind you guys.
Yeah. Is that the one that shared about I know.
The guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Not the bald big guy.
Oh, yeah, the one, yeah.
And the one behind you, he was sharing how he wanted a drink, and
Yeah.
I said to him, I don't know if you heard me, I said to him, this shows that this program works.
Yeah.
Because you didn't drink, you're sitting here.
Yeah.
So instead of dumping your shit in a meeting, sit in that meeting and share how you want to dump your shit.
Is that mafia music?
That's my phone, my ringtone.
Wow. Never bring your phone into a meeting.
Yeah, that's why I don't bring my phone to a meeting.
I don't know if this classifies. It takes two
This is
people
not
to have
a
a
meeting.
meeting. Yeah, yeah, but wait, no,
My phone was over there in the house.
wait, this is not a meeting, but it takes two people to have. Let me just split that here. So, okay, when you sponsor someone, give them some of your valuable time. Don't meet them at the meeting 10 minutes early. Sit down and spend at least
Oh, I can't stand that.
an hour once a week with them doing step work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see people at every meeting I go to, they're right before the meeting starts, they meet with their sponsor, you get their books out, they're going over the thing. And I always go up to them and fuck with them. They're just sitting there, I go, is she doing her fifth step? Can I sit in on this?
No, when me and my sponsor did get to work, we would meet. I got sober over at the Sterling Room, and I worked my steps over at the Sterling Room in Davie. And that place has like dining tables and stuff like that set around the room, and it's like family over there. And that's where I worked my steps. But we would meet at the meeting, between the meeting, like there was an hour and a half, 2 hours between the meeting. We'd sit there and do the work.
Yeah, that's
Of
fine.
course, we did a fifth step off. We didn't do it right in the room where somebody could interrupt or do whatever. But that's where I did a majority of my book work. That's where I did a majority.
No, I'm
of my
talking
stuff.
about people that tell their sponsors, the meeting is 7:00. Meet me at 6:45 or 6:30.
Yeah.
And so they're not really giving up their time, are they?
Yeah.
They're not giving themselves because they're going to go to that meeting anyway.
Yeah.
So they're just making it convenient for themselves to give of themselves.
Yeah, I get what
You know
you're
what?
saying. Yeah.
This program, I have to make it inconvenient
Yeah.
for me to help you
Yeah.
because that's what matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that I get there 10 minutes early so I could sit down and work with you and we got to be done in 15 minutes because the meeting's starting. That's not,
That doesn't seem like quality.
no, it's not putting myself out there.
Well, I've heard people that say like, now here's the thing, like when I sponsor and do anything, I only have like a couple guys that I work with, but I've heard people say, "Oh, I sponsor 10 and 15 guys," and I'm thinking, when do you have time to give yourself to them and to really make sure that their recovery is of quality? Now, am I wrong to think?
Well, I sponsor about, I sponsor about 10 guys right now. Well,
Okay.
I actually sponsor a couple of women. I sponsor about 8 guys, a couple of women.
Okay, are they all like?
I've always sponsored women.
Are they all like doing their steps right now?
They're all doing steps. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do steps.
Yeah.
They're one of my guys is 29 years sober.
Yeah.
Most of them are at least 3 years sober. I think is the lowest one. But we all do steps. We do step work always.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always something to work the steps on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's one of the other things you talk about and you hear about in the rooms is men sponsor men and women sponsor women.
Yeah.
Listen, if men didn't sponsor women, there'd be no women in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
If a man didn't sponsor a woman somewhere along the way, there would be no women here.
Yeah.
So, the idea of get my perversion out of the way and just give a woman the same thing I would give a guy.
Yeah.
My undevoted attention and time.
Okay. Yeah, that's so well, I really don't have any more questions except do meeting makers make it?
That's That's another good one. Meeting makers make it. You know. No, they don't.
Yeah.
I gave a statistic last night. 15% of the people.
Yeah, because you hit everyone with, yeah.
Get the percentage rate is 15%. Well, those 85% that don't make it, they were meeting makers. At least 70% of those 85% were meeting makers.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make it? They went to meetings.
And they do any of the steps.
Even if, when you look at only 15% success rate, that blows that right out of the water. That the meeting makers don't make it. Yeah. People that practice this stuff in their life and change their life and devote their life to a spiritual path of recovery, they make it.
Yeah,
and they stay here and they grow spiritually.
Yeah,
when I first got sober, I looked at guys in the room with 25, 30 years. I said, what's the matter with these people? They're stupid. They never get this deal. 25 years, they're still here. But I didn't know. What did I know, right? I'm 5 days sober, right?
Yeah.
What I realized today, of course, that's why they're still there. That's why they don't have 25, 30 years.
Because they keep doing the deal.
They keep coming back and doing the deal.
Yeah. That's the one thing I was told, I don't get to stop doing this, and I love that, actually. I don't get some graduation ceremony, I'm done. It becomes a way of life.
It becomes a way of life, Well, sometimes I go somewhere, and I don't want to tell anybody that I'm going to a different city or something, because I don't want to. Anytime I tell somebody I'm coming somewhere, there's a fucking meeting they're going to bring me to. I got to speak. I got to do a workshop. I got to do something. Sometimes I just want to get away, right?
Yeah.
So I went to, last year I decided I'm going to drive down to somewhere in Louisiana, about 7-hour drive for me, 6-hour drive for me. And I'm just going to take a weekend and just not tell nobody I'm coming down there. I know people all over the country in recovery.
Yeah.
And so I went down there and I got this hotel room and I looked up AA. Let me find this. There's a meeting here. Where is this? Not in town. I asked the guy where it was. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, he said. I said, okay, I'm in the middle of Louisiana. I said, I'm going to go to that meeting. I'm just going to go there. I'm just going to sit there and I'm just going to listen. Don't you know, I went to that fucking meeting. I walked in the room. The guy says to me, Danny Falcone, how you doing? Shit.
That's God.
I heard you speak in New Orleans one year.
Well, that's great. Well, Danny, it's been great to sit down with you. Paul disappeared. Sarah's looking at me. She's just looking at me over there. She's like, so when are we going to watch those videos? And I lost my headphones.
No, it's been good. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Thank you. And it's like I'm leaving.
Somebody.
Yeah. Well, and that's what this is about, is getting the word of this out. But the book is called The 20 Most Misunderstood, Misinterpreted Mistakes of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Danny Falcone. And
the website is BB Study 2022. And it got all the videos you need on there. Yeah,
and now I realized I really need to go watch some videos.
Yeah.
And before we go, there's one last thing. Do you have anything to the newcomer? Do you have anything to say to the newcomer?
No, I don't have any magic that's going to help your ass, except to tell you, go to a meeting, get somebody and ask them to help you pick up the big book and start studying it and go through the book with somebody. Your life will change if you do that.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, well, thank you very much for your time.
No magic.
Yeah, the magic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take care, everyone, and we will see you later.
Thanks, Mark.
Goodbye. Yeah, thanks, Danny. Bye.
No magic.
No, the recovery band is magic.
Yeah.
Hey, and the studio audience would like to thank you, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can hear them. Yeah, there's standing ovation. You hear that now?
Hey,
yeah, right. Goodbye, everyone, and be well.